Welcome to my humble abode. I'm Yorkie the Talespinner, and this is our morning show, Tales Over Coffee, where we celebrate the new day with a coffee and a narrative tale together. And this is Suzerain, the tale of Anton Rain's presidency of Sordland. A difficult presidency indeed. Will we live? Even that's a question. One that not every president has to face. Right, we're in negative budget territory. Let's have a look at the highway. Oh, changes the tax system. I'm not supporting the business council, as you've seen. We're going with a planned economy. We're at the top floor of the business council building, which had a great view of beautiful Lockhaven. I looked outside from the tall glass windows. The Marchian Sea stretched as far as the eye could see, and it was dotted with many ships towards the horizon. They were mostly cargo ships carrying precious goods in and out of Sordland. Tracing back the paths of the ships, I looked at the harbour. Lockhaven was home to one of the largest harbours in the entire continent. Many dockyard workers were loading or unloading containers. Work never stopped here. The door opened. Simon, Mikhail, and Edith entered the room. Mr. President, said Simon Hall. Mr. President, said Edith. So nice to see you again. Good afternoon, Mr. President, said Mikhail Levin. It's great to see you all again. Simon put down his bag on the table and started collecting his documents while the others slowly took their seats. Mr. President, before we start, I would like to mention some rumours that I heard. Workers' Rights Act did not sit well with many business holders. Yes, well, you've been exploiting workers for decades, haven't you? Not longer. Especially the first section about minimum wages. I heard the same, said Edith. This has caused these businesses to lose millions of rents just overnight. Unfortunate, really, especially during a recession. What is unfortunate is that this bill was enacted this late. Neither of them responded. Simon waited patiently. Once everyone was ready, he adjusted his glasses. First of all, I would like to thank everyone here for their work on the tax system reform. We all know how complicated our current tax system is, and the work wouldn't be possible without you. He turned to me. The ultimate goal here is to end the recession. Before we move ahead and start formulating a plan, we need you to determine our direction, Mr. President. We have a few possibilities as a result of the work we have done so far. We can increase, maintain, or decrease the taxes for large corporations. I believe some of us in the room have a few strong opinions about this. In parallel, continued Simon, we can increase, maintain, or decrease the tax of small and medium businesses. Let's start with the large corporations and we'll move on to small businesses. What's the outcome if we increase the taxes for large corporations? Simply put, if we increase the taxes, we will have more government budget to spend. It may come in handy. On the other hand, it's not directly helping us revitalise the economy. Our government is already in debt. This might be a way to get out of that debt. I do believe there is one way to get out of recession. It is through the trade and economic contribution of large corporations. Increasing their taxes will turn them on you, said Edith. I will go a step further, said Mikhail. Increasing their tax will have a disastrous result, and it will make you an enemy of them. Trust me, Mr. President, nobody wants to make an enemy of them. Goes both ways, Mr. Avon. Of course. What if we decrease the taxes for large corporations? Our government budget will be hit, but in return, due to the sheer size of the economic contribution coming from these companies, it should be helpful in curbing the recession. I do think this is definitely a good option if we want to end the recession, especially with the current state of our budget. I think this is a great idea, said Edith. Me too, said Mikhail. You would have them on your side, on your good side, on top of solving the recession crisis, Mr. President. I have to agree being an ally would come in handy. Is there any downside to keeping things as they are? I'm of the opinion that if we don't make any changes, nothing will change. To stop the recession, we need to do something, said Simon. I think so too, said Edith. Agreed, said Mikhail. What does everyone think we should do? I don't think we can do anything at this point, although I would have preferred a decrease in taxes. It doesn't seem to be the best option. Our international trade is driven mostly by the products of these corporations. They are the backbone of the economy, said Edith. Exactly, said Michael. An increase should be out of the question. These companies are on the backbone of our economy and the way out of the recession. Ready to make a decision. Very well, I'm all ears. We could do with more budget. That said, I don't want to overtax corporations because that will help drive them to other countries. I don't think we can afford to decrease them. We will maintain. This will not change anything. We won't gain anything by standing still where we are. I protest against this. Enough, the President has made his choice, said Simon. Well then, I have taken a note of our action and I will put it into implementation as soon as possible. Simon opened his briefcase and swapped out the stack of papers he had in front with another stack. Let's move on to small and medium businesses. What is the outcome if we increase taxes? I think that is a disastrous move. They are the backbone of the economy and they are comprised of mostly regular people. If we start demanding more money from them in taxes, it might cause the public to harbour ill will. More than that, they'll go under. Our budget is in good shape. I don't see the need to increase the tax at the cost of popularity. I think increasing tax for these smaller corporations is a good way to earn some extra capital, but the government can give it back to the people in due time. Edith, you're going to sink them. In the long run, increasing tax of small and medium businesses would make people happier in the services the government provides. The big corporations can better carry that. People need their hard-earned money. What if we decrease them? It should be helpful in curbing the recession for sure. Of course, that will come at the cost of losing some government budget. It is risky when we have no money left, and we still have loans to pay. Is there any downside to keeping them? Sordland needs to change to get out of recession one way or another. I don't think we will come back on our feet by not doing anything to change our status quo. I'm ready to make a decision. Very well. Although this could be extremely risky, I want to encourage them by decreasing them. Well then, everyone, that will be all for today. Enjoy Lockhaven. They left the meeting room. I decided to stay a bit longer. I went to the windows again and kept watching the sea in silence for some more time. All sword post. Tax cuts for small and medium corporations. In order to end the recession, the administration has announced new changes to the tax system. As per the information provided by the Ministry of Economy, the new changes include tax cut of 10%, taking the total to 25% for small and medium corporations. President Rain has approved the tax reform and the changes are expected to come into effect immediately. Young Swords denies allegations. The Vice President of Young Swords Cultural Centres made an announcement today denying having ties to the terror attacks. I, or our cultural organisation, pose no threat to the national security of Sordland, or to any foreign country or state, he said. We have not and do not plan on engaging in acts of terror or violence. He also denied the murderer of Bernard Circus was working with Young Swords, saying the murderer was just a lost patriot who probably worked alone. The Vice President said he believes the authorities misunderstood his expressed desire to be a martyr of Sordland, which was written in the entrance of his office. Young Swords is not a terrorist organisation and will not bow down to fake accusations without any evidence, he said. Blaming a whole organisation for the actions of an individual who was allegedly a member is absurd. Yes, but at the same time, there is reason to be suspicious, isn't there? Current School wins award. The National School Rankings have announced their results for 1955 metrics. Surprisingly, in the category of primary and secondary education, Torrens Hill School passed all others with the highest average results achieved in the student performance, discipline, facilities, hygiene and staff happiness categories. The NSR committee gave an award to the principal. Education experts believe the principal and the head teachers excel in taking responsibility for their duties, which led to better performance in many aspects. Upon closer inspection of Lackhaven Times editorial team found about how much delegation occurred in the staff that even included diligent teenagers to improve and maintain the operations of the school. Red Youth calls for peace. Earlier today, John Gasmich, one of the leaders of the Red Youth, spoke to the public and condemned the opportunistic looting and violence taking place in cities across Sordland, saying it is not being done in the name of Bernard Circus. He denied terrorist allegations and condemned the attacks, saying that Red Youth has no connection to violence. He accused the police of trying to sway the public opinion against socialism and legal millennialist groups such as Red Youth. Some people are trying to incite violence and take away the meaning of these peaceful protests. It's funny how those who you can suspect, on either side, always deny it very strongly. Moloch threatens new military incursions targeting BFF. Wizard President Victor Smolak has threatened to launch military operations in northern Welland, close to the border of Sordland and Lesbia, against the bloodish rebel group, the BFF, which Reklo considers to be the terrorist organisation. In a television interview to cut his support for next month's referendum to extend his presidential powers, Moloch announced the military is preparing a new internal operation with possible cross-border implications against the BFF. Observers point out that a tough stance against the BFF, which is fighting for minority rights, plays well with the Wessex nationalists. Smolak has pledged to eradicate the bloodish groups in Welland, the Democracy Party of Welland, and the militant organisation, the Bloodish Freedom Front, which is known to operate both in Welland and Sordland extensively. Such operations are fraught with military risks, and the possibility of further exacerbating already tense relations among neighbours, particularly Sordland, due to the large number of bloodish minority living close to the borders, as well as occasion back to Lesbia. Despite such risks, some analysts don't rule out a military operation. Another thing that we have going on right now is in Lenkirk, briefing on the H3 highway construction issues. The H3 highway construction created a second opportunity to visit the seaside town of Lenkirk, known for its salmon. Thousands of people from the city were employed for construction work by the new highway project. But the main purpose of our visit was to solve construction issues that began to endanger the deadline. The mayor welcomed us at his own mansion and took us on a brief tour of the city. Afterwards, we gathered at the city hall. Simon looked a little worried, but Lilius looked dead serious. There was also a message of support from the mayor of Avery, Eric Neal, who was grateful for the H3 investments. I have concerns about the construction due to progress being slower than expected, said Simon. We scheduled the project to finish in late 1955, but the Sordish State Corporation might miss that target with the current trajectory. After engaging with the managers, said Lilius, they have said that they are moving forward slowly but steadily. The cliffside ground lane construction between Lenkirk and Avery is proving more dangerous than expected. The SSC is an organisation of principle, so they aren't rushing and risking people's lives, continued Lilius. The states can't be reckless. How can we get it back on schedule? That is a million-rand question. There are a couple of issues that need to be resolved if we want SSC to make the deadline. One of the important issues, said Simon, is their construction management team. The other could be the outdated construction methods used, which require more manpower. We aren't sure if that contributes to the issue. But with that comes other issues. We don't want to create chaos in the management team, which could create further problems. We can't let mismanagement delay the project. It's unacceptable. Couldn't agree more, said Simon. This shouldn't be kept going any longer. It is very important that we create jobs for our own citizens, said Lilius, who are unemployed rather than foreigners. Giving them a serious warning could be the solution. A slap on the wrist can do wonders. Officially warning them is a possibility, but it isn't tangible. We need action. The state owns the SSC. They can't retaliate and bite off the hand that feeds them. There is a good chance that they will take it far more seriously and take measures to increase speed. Someone took a deep breath and continued. One way or another, we have to solve this issue. This can lead to real complications down the line otherwise. We can either give the construction managers money, warn them, or replace them. With more resources, the managers are more likely to hit the deadline. Any other action just hurts Sordland. We don't have the money to give them. Send a formal warning from the Ministry of Economy and the Presidency. The warning will hopefully have a positive result in their performance, said Simon. We could escalate further later. I'm not so sure a warning can do the situation on the ground. The managers already have many issues to tackle. That should be it. Good that we have figured out a way to move the process forward. The meeting ended. The three of us went to the beach of Lenkirk. It was rather rocky, but very pristine. The sunset looked absolutely astonishing over the Markian Sea. The day-long visit ended with a dinner involving the most important people in the city. Many of them were bureaucrats. Later we made our way back to Hallsword. We have a report in Hallsword. SSC promised to deliver. The official warning from the Presidency and the Ministry of Economy was received by Sordish State Corporation. The chairman of the managers has apologised for the current situation, but highlighted that rushing the work would risk real lives. The entire board signed a letter promising to meet the deadlines earlier outlined. Visit and inspection of schools in Leiren. Torren Hill School, the prize winners. As part of the planned programme, we arrived in Leiren to visit a middle school. The prestigious Torren Hill School was situated close to the suburbs, just outside the city centre. The building was flanked by two hills, each beautifully dotted with shrubs and flowers. Lucian, Ciara and I got out of our cars and met at the entrance. Our presence had not gone unnoticed. Apart from the guards, there were at least 10 reporters following us around. That must be the principal. Right this way, sir, said Lucian. The principal was a man of short stature and with a bushy moustache and a pair of glasses. He approached us quickly, but was stopped by the security guards. They started patting him down and searching him. Wait for them to finish. Security is important. I waited for them to finish searching the principal. One of the guards turned to me and nodded. Shake his hand and smile for the cameras. We shook hands and I turned around to smile for the cameras. Reporters instantly snapped a few photos. Welcome to our humble school, said the principal. Sorry about the security guards, it's necessary, standard procedure. Excellent. You must be Mr. Gallard. It's a pleasure to meet you, said Lucian. And Miss Valda, so good of you to come all the way out here. Thank you, said Ciara. At the entrance, the school's motto was inscribed on the wall in giant letters. Interesten CR Angenikar of Gering, etc. Education is the premise of progress in all societies, in all families. We walked through the gates. There were many students lined up in front of the stairs to the main building. The school band started playing as we entered. All of the students immediately slapped to attention and turned to me. Looks like a military institution than a school, said Ciara. Exactly, that's what we pride ourselves on, said the principal. Discipline has the utmost importance in our school. Discipline never hurt anyone. Ciara bristled. Up to a point, perhaps. Look at those kids. I can assure you that our students are very well educated. In fact, our school is one of the top 10 middle schools in the entirety of Sordland. Now, we will watch the students take their daily student oath. A boy and a girl went up to the stage and grabbed the microphones. The students turned to them. I am a sword. My strength lies in my blood, said the boy. I will respect our honourable elders, said the girl. I will protect the young. My life begins Sordland now, and it will belong to it forever, said the boy. I will always follow the guiding light, said the girl. Of Colonel Sol, said the boy, and the great swords. A Mogna Vezkor, Vector and Sizdar, said the girl. And clapped loudly, everyone joined. Words to remember, said Lucian. What? No one even remembers after they graduate, said Ciara. If you wish to follow me, we will take a look at one of our classrooms. Through the hallways, we made our way to classroom 7A. As soon as I entered the whole classroom, rose up and snapped to attention. Sit down, please. The student sat down. The same boy and girl walked up to us. These are our top students in our top class. This here is my son. The boy came before me and saluted like a military officer. Tell Mr. President what you want to be, said the principal. Mr. President, I want to be a general, sir, said the boy. I'm ready to sacrifice myself for my country and you, sir. You'll make a fine soldier in the future, at ease, General. Thank you, sir. Principal squeezed his son's shoulder, and the boy looked up and smiled at his father. He patted him on the back and sent him back to his seat. The cameras flashed. This is simply ridiculous. You're raising soldiers here, not students. I'm so sorry, said the principal, who immediately performed disciplinary actions. How about you, young lady? What do you think about this? She's our top student in the school. Her excellent grades are to... I didn't ask you. He bent down and gently addressed the young student. What do you think about your school, just between us girls? I'm sick of having to knit and sew while the boys learn science and chemistry. Yes, that should change. I'm smarter than all of them. Why do I have to take these stupid handcraft lessons? Shh. Do you know who you're talking to? Said the principal. Shut up, interrupted Ciara. Let her speak. Ciara's presence had a ball of the girl. She went on. My math and reading scores are the best in the school, but they won't let me take the classes I want, just because I'm a girl. I want to be a scientist, not some soldier's wife. You heard her, Mr. Principal. You'll make the necessary changes at once. As you wish, sir. At once, said the principal. I'll personally check back and make sure that the changes are made. Yes, sir. The cameras flashed once again. I looked around the classroom and saw a large portrait of Colonel Sol. I'm going to let them keep their decoration. Well then, unfortunately we are almost out of time. We have other meetings to attend today, said Lucian. Thank you for the warm welcome. Mr. President, Lucian, please go ahead. I would like to speak with the girl alone. Thank you for the tour. Thank you for visiting our school, sir, said the principal. Please, come on, class. 1, 2. All students in the classroom yelled, but the boy whom I met was the loudest. A Morgna West Corps. Expectance is da. It's, how much people remember it is irrelevant. It's a introduction to the culture. A bonding, if you will. After another round of photos, we departed. Now, I will say there are some countries in the world where you have that bonding, but the country does not serve the people who bond that way. We should be doing. The Hall Sword Post to unread articles. President visits school in Leren. A middle school in Leren received a special visit from President Rain and Minister of Education Mrs. Volder. Students and staff at Torren Hill School, one of the 5 most prestigious schools in East Sordland, welcomed the special visitors on Thursday morning. President Rain had expressed his wish to visit the successful Torren Hill School and spent the morning talking with staff and students, joining in with lessons and hosting questions and answer sessions with the students. Through the visit, Torren Hill is delighted to have had an opportunity to represent the fantastic job that all staff members have been doing. Assembly talks about prayer language. Today, Kesaro Kimna, the leader of NFP, has proposed the Sordish Prayer Language Act to the Assembly. The proposed bill aims to standardise the language of prayer to Sordish in the entire Sordland. Prayer language has always been a controversial topic, as most of the religious ceremonies in the Bergia region, where most of the Bludish population resides, conduct their prayers in Bludish. I think that's ridiculous. Briefing on the proposal of education reform, Leren State Guest House, Leren. We were still in Leren, staying at a modest guest house for state employees. Ciara set up a meeting with me and Lucian to go over her plans for education reform after our school visit. Lucian was seated across from me at the table. Going through documents, Ciara entered the room. After the visit today, I couldn't even sleep thinking about that little boy and girl. I've never been more sure of my attention to a reform our education system. Lucian took off his reading glasses and put it on the table. I agree, an education reform is necessary. Exactly, said Ciara. Those students have to repeat the same solist propaganda every single day. They are being brainwashed at an age when their minds need to be free. On top of that, young girls are denied the same opportunity as boys. They're forced into the role of housewife before they can even reach puberty. Nothing's changed since I went to school. Women like me, Lilius, Nia, even your wife, we had to study twice as hard to receive the same university education that you and Lucian took for granted. Is that the kind of country you want to have your daughter grow up in? Mr. President, we need to bring change. We need to free the minds of these young people. They are our future. Very well. What do you need to do for an education reform? We need to keep politics out of the curriculum. Saul should only be viewed as a historical figure. Children shouldn't have to repeat his name every day. This is actively poisoning young bright minds. Instead of thinking for themselves, they're learning to take things at face value. We also need to ensure boys and girls receive the same instruction. Handcrafts like knitting and sewing should be taught to both sexes. Yes, absolutely. Well, not at all. There is a great value in boys learning to care for themselves, and in girls learning the sciences. Sordland's youth must be technically skilled and capable for the next decade. That won't be possible with the amount of nationalistic indoctrination and narrow-minded thinking found in schools today. Careful, we do want them aligned behind the country. Either we raise generation ready for the challenges of the future or not. What will it be, Mr. President? Lucian, what do you think? As much as I respect Colonel Sol, his time has passed. Now is our time. I do think this might be the first step in a larger plan. Yes, reformation is needed. You'll not regret it, I'll get to work immediately. Now that the decision was made, let's move on. Very well. Ciara skimmed over the documents before continuing. With no change in budget, the ministry was left to its own devices. We've made some tough choices, but still lack additional funds. Therefore, we are investigating if privatising education would draw enough funds to conduct investments. There is a possibility of privatisation having negative side effects, not least if it's left within regions. Poorer regions will have worse education. It's possible. Let's see. Trust me, I know that, said Ciara. It could increase the cost of quality education. That is hardly avoidable now anyway. Private education is inconsistent with our overall economic strategy of a planned economy, said Lucian. A few minutes of deliberation passed. We can manage without additional funds. The only reason I wanted to consider it is to have more money to improve education. What is your decision? Keep education solely a matter of the state. We need to prevent interference from private interests. Will do, that should be it for now. I will get to work and report back later. This has been a very productive day, said Lucian. I'll be returning to Hallsword. Thank you for your time. We dispersed after spending nearly an entire day together. I took a moment simply to breathe the fresh evening air of Leiron. I felt calmer here somehow, but I would have returned to the chaos of Hallsword soon enough. And we have two more articles. Ibner, Rain is making a mistake. Head of Sordland's second opposition party, National Front Party, Mr. Kibner, has said President Rain will not be able to keep ruling the country without addressing policies that would negatively affect our security, culture and economy. He blamed President Rain for not being open to any discussions about proper reforms. Kibner also criticised the PFJP leader, Franz Richter, for supporting President Rain. NFP cannot be part of this nonsensical collaboration anymore, as it has been transformed into an anti-nationalist committee, said Kibner. He also explained his concerns of how PFJP supported Acasian imperialism and only cared about profit at the expense of Sordish people. Rain is making a mistake by working with Richter, said Kibner. He criticised the committee for not discussing the real issues around Sordland. From the Radical, demonstrators arrested. Tens of thousands of demonstrators were driven out of the city centres by riot police in the week. According to ground sources, thousands have been detained. The government still has not declared real numbers or the identity of individuals. The government cracked down on protesters around the country was swift and brought an end to chaos in major cities such as Holsord and Lockhaven. Reports from mayors around the country came in today, saying that the protesters are under control. Relatively. And that, my friends, is where we'll leave it for today. What will we be tackling next time? Some reports and meeting with Gloria Tori on planned reform. Well, we will see how that goes. For now, I've been Yorkie the Talespinner. You've been a fine audience, and if you want to help the channel grow, the like, the subscribe, and the comment section is all useful. Fare thee well.